Welcome back to the Back Issue Book Club. I'm Greg,
And I'm Rich.
and this week we read Avengers Tech On 1 through 6. It's a small series that came out a couple years ago,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's 616, but I,
Hmm.
I don't I don't remember anything saying it wasn't either, so I'm not sure. Um, but what do you think?
Well, the one thing that really made me wonder that when you said that right now was Sunfire. I think in 616 Sunfire is dead. But in this one, they made it sound like they thought he was dead, but he actually wasn't. So, yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. Um, but yeah, I thought this felt very Saturday morning cartoony kind of to me, and that's okay for me.
The artwork reminded me of 90s style rather than 2021 style.
I can see that. There's a little bit of anime influence, I feel like, too.
Yep. Especially when you saw the AI for um, Tony Stark. Friday.
Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Friday looked very, um, Sailor Moon to me.
Yeah, true. And I guess so, um, it's like it was described as like an Avengers Sentai style story, and Sentai I think Sentai is the word, but it's Power Rangers-esque.
Mhm.
That's kind of what Sentai is, so, um, I thought it was fun. I I I liked the idea of, the Avengers being Iron Men,
Mm.
essentially. I thought it was cool. And I didn't recognize Red Skull at first until they told me it was Red Skull because he was
Yeah,
all infinity stoned.
it kinda reminded me of the Ultron from the What If episodes.
Yeah, yeah, and we got a bunch of Ultrons eventually.
Yeah, and if you had the power of the infinity dust, as it will, not just stones, but dust,
Yeah.
would you use them to make yourself even uglier than you were before as the Red Skull?
I know, right? He turned even more demonic.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be looking at it like, "Okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and I'm gonna look like Fabio."
Hey. Yeah, but, I mean, it had the story felt familiar in terms of the interpersonal relationships,
Mhm. Yes.
um, with what was that, Civil War, I guess? Sort of where Captain and Iron Man were kind of not seeing eye to eye on how things.
It was kind of Iron Man and everybody else was not seeing eye to
Well,
eye.
that's true. I guess Captain America is like the whatever, the figurehead of it, but yeah, especially him and Carol Danvers.
And even
Um,
Spider-Man was chiming in too.
yeah, yeah, when he walks in the room and the lights turn on and they're all like, "Oh, hello,
This is an
Spider-Man," and
intervention.
he's like, "Do you guys just, like, stay in the dark? That's weird." But then Spider-Man goes on to, demonstrate, his inability to access anything and Tony's secretiveness, so
Right, but he does make mention to the last time somebody had access to his arm or his technology, it led to a war or almost led to a war. I'm assuming that means armor wars, but
yeah.
it's kind of like, I mean, a DC parallel would be Batman has ways to take out every one of the Justice League members. It
Right.
doesn't mean that he plans on using it. He just has to be just very defensive uh, and cautious. And
Correct.
as much as
Contingencies.
people were, yeah, people were really worried about Tony Stark becoming uh, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, which they quote in the book.
Yes.
At the very end, he has access to that absolute power and turns it down. So that
Yeah, that was interesting how
yeah, I think
they
at that one moment, Tony Stark might have actually been able to lift Mjolnir. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had the opportunity to have that and then releases it.
mm,
Um, I thought the inclusion of, the symbiotes was interesting, an
yes,
interesting choice, I guess, because 'cause they're kind of monsterish, And then eventually we get
Yeah.
Scream, who is a kaiju in here, which I thought you would enjoy.
Mm.
We didn't get much with her though. It's just mostly Venom trying to break into her and like join. Um, in
It was
which
to have a
eventually,
sorry, it was to have a symbiotic relationship with a symbiote.
yeah, right. But eventually, it gets to Wolverine, who is like kind of dealing with it, like still conscious, but then like he slowly starts to succumb to it, I guess. And
Mm.
um, yeah, I don't know, it was interesting.
Well, that's what Spider-Man kind of says to him is, you think you're in control, but trust me, I've been in your shoes. You're not."
Yeah,
And then Wolverine replies back, "We are in control." And he's like, "He said we. That's
yeah, he
not."
said we. I do like how Peter was like, "Hey, I want in on this research and R&D stuff."
You know, I happen to be somewhat of a scientist myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
read that
then,
line with Willem Dafoe's voice, so
but then to Tony's credit, he comes out and he gives credit to Peter. Like he's like, he's a smart kid. He helped me get through some breakthroughs too. So that was kind of unusual. I felt like.
yeah.
Um, Black Panther kind of coming and going.
Yep.
Um, I'm glad the second time he tried to like combo break Red Skull. Red Skull was like, no, because it made it
It's
seem like he was
the same move again.
right. Um, but yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. Do you have any other thoughts?
I hated it.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
I I thought the artwork was horrific. I didn't know what I was looking at half the time. I'm like flipping out screen, and I'm like, I don't get it. What am I looking at? Whose voice is talking? Is that supposed to be Venom, or is that supposed to be Red Skull? And what's happening in this frame? And it was 6 books of this. And
Oh, no.
if I had to see one more frame of Tony Stark bragging about how big his brain is, oh yes, I thought of this. Ha ha ha! I'm here to save the day. Ha ha ha! And, oh, you know what? I'm in a no-win scenario. Let me use my superpower, whatever the heck the Mach 10, whatever thing it was,
Yeah.
power that they had, which they said was going to completely um, deplete the uniform, the armor, and potentially be fatal to the wearer. Not one time did anybody use it. Did it get to the point where their armor was depleted and they were laying on the ground helpless, which would have been, showing, ramifications of using it, the actual potential that it showed. But it was like, oh, I'm losing. When did twin powers activate? I just, I didn't like it. I did not like the storyline at all.
That's okay. That is okay. That's probably why it was 6 issues. I think most people probably agreed with that, although it could have just been 6 issues from the get-go, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I have an ace in the hole. Well, I have an ace in the hole. Well, I have another ace in the hole. Well, I have another ace in the hole. Meanwhile, 5 people sitting in the background going, "What the hell, man?" Oh, both these guys. Why don't we just like hang back and let these guys to see how many trump cards they possibly can throw
I
out?
kinda liked that, I don't know,
uh,
but that's okay. Do we wanna give ratings?
well, I just think that if Tony Stark had that much ability and that much time to come up with that many aces, then maybe they should have in issue one made all those aces and just went and attacked the Red Skull. It stopped fighting all the things that he's creating and causing damage with.
Well, Reed
I
Richards
mean,
wasn't there to tell him to do that.
yeah,
Then
but
actually
Tony Stark's the smartest person.
that was funny. He was I forget who said it, but
Spider-Man, I think.
yeah. "Oh, is Reed here?"
Yeah, yeah, ha ha, very funny, Spider Boy. um, I don't know. It just got a bit. It did read to me like I didn't even think about it when I read it, but now that you said it, yeah, I felt like I was reading a Power Ranger comic, and I don't read Power Ranger comics.
That is fair, man. There's no problem with that. Um,
Yes, I will absolutely go for ratings.
Fire away.
I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
It's still above the Wolverine limited series, which I'm still ashamed of. But yeah, I would not reread this, and I found myself more annoyed at what I could not interpret in the artwork.
Huh.
Right? I'm looking at things again. I'm looking at the panel, going, "What am I looking at? I don't know. Is this abstract art? What is this?" Like, and I knew this was going to be a problem from the very first explosion, which I had to look at for about 15 minutes to try to figure out, is that a craft exploding over their head, or did part of the Avengers Tower blow up? I can't tell.
Hmm.
I think with the rubble, it's supposed to be, because if it was an aircraft, I'd see like engines and fuselage and wings coming down, but that looks like, I think that might be a rock. And if I'm having a hard time figuring out if that is a rock, I got a problem.
Oh. Uh, I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I
Okay.
I probably won't. I'm not. I mean, I don't think I'll read many comics again, to be honest. But um, I don't regret reading it. I didn't have
Good.
problems following the like dialogue and who was speaking and stuff.
You're smarter than me, though. We've established this many times.
But I I like Power Rangers stuff, and I was on a Power Rangers binge for a while before I joined the channel and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I thought it was a fun switch up, and it felt cartoony, like I was saying in the beginning, and it felt fun. And um, I don't know. My biggest qualm is the art was a little anime for me. Um,
Okay.
and they left it on a cliffhanger too with they showed a Carnage at the very end, like possibly picking up the mantle or whatever, but
Yeah, and I had to double check, like, there's not an issue 7, right? Okay,
no,
good.
no, no. Yeah, no, it's but variety is the spice of life, my friend.
Again, it's amazed me how much that we have agreed on books lately, and I was waiting for one that we disagreed on, because I think when we disagree on whether or not we like a book, it becomes a better dialogue between the two of us.
Yeah.
There's no way everybody's supposed to like every single thing. Yeah, I mean,
No.
if everybody likes the same things, there'd be one car in one color and one brand of blue jeans and one type of food.
Yeah.
Diversity is, needed, and there are people that, I mean, Godzilla's minus one is one of my favorite movies of all time. I took my wife's cousin. He came, finished. He goes, I wasn't a big fan of it." I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't jump in his face and say, "Well, what are you, crazy?" First off, the guy could like bench press me, so I wouldn't do that. But I said, "Okay, you know what? It's got a 98%. That means that 2% of the people don't like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that."
For sure, for sure. I mean, things would be
So, I
boring,
mean,
right? Like if everybody, it would be robotic at that point.
yes.
So,
So I like it better, I think, when the two of us disagree, because you can point something out, something's positives, and I can point out something's negatives, or vice versa.
yeah.
And I think at that point now, whoever listens or watches this recording will say, "Well, you know what? I'm going to have to read this and formulate my own opinion." If we both said it stunk, then somebody would just ignore it. So,
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, we've got next week lined up.
Oh, yeah.
and we're going to do sort of I guess, a test run.
Yes.
Um, we're gonna read the first 6 issues of Saga, the, uh, the Brian K. Vaughan, I think, uh,
Yes,
masterpiece.
And Fiona Staples.
Yes. This is a book that is, like, a modern classic by all accounts.
Mhm.
Um, there's upward of 50 issues, so we're gonna see if we enjoy it, and if we do, then we
Then
might
we'll
go
make
on.
the decision if we wanna continue.
Right, right. So, 1 through 6, Saga.
Absolutely. So, we record this on Sunday. I just was curious, did you, do any catch-up watching this weekend?
No,
I
no.
rewatched Hawkeye
Oh, nice.
and started catching key issues, episodes of the Daredevil series to try to get everything refreshed in my mind for the drop of Echo.
That's right. That's this week.
5 episodes dropping in one night, TVMA.
Yep, that's gonna be
And
bonkers.
well,
Both from voices of hate and disgust across the internet, and
yeah.
people are already doomsdaying it without even seeing it, so
Well, I think a lot of people doomsdayed it as soon as they heard that all the episodes are dropping in one night.
that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, well, if it was good, they'd stretch it out. Not necessarily. Secret Invasion was stretched out and that stunk.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have no idea what those Disney analytics say, to them.
There are shows that are really, everybody loves the shows, and I'm not a big fan of them. There are shows that people absolutely hate that I liked.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this
again,
goes back to the same thing we were just talking about.
yeah, I mean, the Miss Marvel got very good reviews, and I didn't like it at all. She Hulk, everybody hated. I liked the She Hulk
I
series.
did too.
I thought it was very, with the exception of the wedding episode, which I thought was stupid. And the way they portrayed Titania, I get that, but it was very much in line with the Sensational She-Hulk comic book, which was campy and fun, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I liked the Marvels. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it.
yeah,
I actually really liked Blue Beetle. That didn't do well in the theater.
yeah.
So again,
Ah,
everything is not for everyone.
exactly.
So so we know what we're talking about the next Back Issue Book Club.
Yep.
Um, and that's about it. So I'm going to let you bring us home, sir.
Okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure you rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube as well to get all the latest updates from our channel, including every Monday we do cover price top 10 coverage,
Hmm.
and every Wednesday we do new comic book day coverage. Um, if you want to steer the direction of the podcast by giving us suggestions, please do so in the comments. If you want to have priority suggestions, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Team Ohana, where you'll have priority with all your suggestions. You'll participate in our monthly pool box that I have.
Hmm.
Got some sent out some bangers last time. Spider-Man 1, Todd McFarlane, and Spectacular Spider-Man #1 as well, both to Jason. Um, so that alone pays for your $3 membership. And anything else we do, anything extracurricular to those core shows that we do, will be on there as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Is there anything else?
I believe that's it, sir.
Okay. Well, until the next episode, everyone, mahalo.